I guess I'll start because it's time. So, when you have a dream, you've got to grab it and never let it go by Carol Burnett. A very good evening to one and all present here. Today, I, Genia Gogoy, alongside Teresa Jacob, will host the event. It is our great fortune and pleasure to be in the presence of Mrs. Sweta Agarwal. We welcome you, ma'am. Thousands of UPSC aspirants all over the nation will agree on one singular fact. The fact being, UPSC examinations are tough. but commitment towards your goal and the hard work done to achieve it never goes in vain. And Mrs. Shweta Agarwal has proven this point. In the quest of becoming an IAS, Mrs. Agarwal appeared for the UPSC exam in 2014 and was selected for the IPS post with a rank of 141. In 2015, with parental support and extreme hard work, Mrs. Shweta decided to give one last attempt and this time became an IAS by securing the 19th rank, clearing UPSC exam, third time in a row. We are honored to have you amongst us and we welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
So, ma'am, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you. How are you doing?
You're
We're
doing good
good too,
too.
ma'am.
So, let me start off by asking, what exactly does an IAS do? Like, we know the fiction part of an IAS, but what's the original job?
We implement government policies. That's the one line answer. We serve the public. That's the second line answer. But yeah, so you have a fair enough idea of what an IAS officer does. I don't think I need to elaborate on. I mean, it would be better if you could ask me some, like pinpointed questions rather than these. It's very difficult. Probably in the course of our interaction, you'll get to know what my day looks like and what I do on a daily basis and what an IAS does.
Yes. So, ma'am, I am an IAS aspirant myself, and I often find myself lost in a sea of doubt about where to start my preparation and how to start. So, because there is so much information online that it gets overwhelming at times. And therefore, my question to you is how did you start your preparation, and when did you know, and why did you think that IAS was it for you?
So I've time and again said my journey towards the civil services and towards IAS in particular started when I was very young. I have again in many videos I have said that I've been very fascinated by khaki right from my childhood. So that I say is the beginning of my journey towards civil services, and then in the process of growing up, I decided that IAS is where I want to be, and that is the reason why I wrote the exam multiple times in spite of clearing it right from my second attempt, getting into IRS customs and then IPS and then into IAS. So that is how I think my journey began. Having said that, how did I go about it? So when I started, I quit my job in Deloitte and in 2011, June 2011, and then I decided that I'm going to take the 2012 prelims. That was my first attempt. So I totally understand what you're saying, Genia, because there's a lot of data dump around. And to understand what you should do, how you should go about it, it, it takes a lot of trial and error. It takes a lot of patience. It is very overwhelming. Sometimes, I mean, I remember for the first 3-4 months, I used to feel that I'm like kind of shooting arrows in the dark. I didn't even know whether what I was reading was correct. I was reading the right material, the way I was reading was correct. It was very overwhelming. So what I did was, and I was preparing from West Bengal. I did not go to any of these coaching hubs. So and I started, as I said, I started preparing in July 2011. So at that point of time, a lot of these online classes or online materials were not available. In spite of that, whatever information was around was overwhelming. And so in the current scenario, I can jolly well understand what you are saying. So what I did was I got in touch with a few successful candidates of those that year, and I just gave them a cold call. And I my only one question to them would be to recommend some must read books. So the moment, so I called three of them, and they gave me a list of books. I compared the list and I shortlisted the ones which featured on all the three lists. And then I understood one thing: these three books are must read. I mean these few books which are featuring on all the three lists are a must read. So that's how I started my preparation. And then one thing I would tell all the aspirants or people who want to know about the preparation: see, it will get overwhelming. You need to be a little patient. uh, 2 or 3 months, 4 months, once you are going through the same routine, eventually you will understand. Say, one of the major doubts for beginners is how do we read the newspaper? Do we read like all the 15, 16 pages of the Hindu or Indian Express, whichever is the newspaper you're reading, or do we pick and choose? See, it is very difficult to say that this news you should read or that news you should not read. So when I started, I also had the same doubts. It's very normal. But then over a period of 3 to 4 months of going through that same rigor, you understand, you start developing that knack, that feeling. Okay, so this part is important. This I can leave out. But this develops over a period of time. So till that knack develops, you need to be a little patient with yourself and with your preparation. It's okay to be confused. It's okay to be overwhelmed. Don't be hard. Don't be too hard on yourself. That's all I would say.
Yes, ma'am, definitely. Thank you.
So, ma'am, is it true that at the age of 8, you learned that education could change one's economic and social conditions? So, what conditions made you think like that?
Poverty and patriarchy. I come from utter poverty, so it makes you understand. I mean, these two things. I faced a lot of gender discrimination growing up. So, and in the absence, as I keep saying, in the absence of any overwhelming talent, I realized that if there's one thing that can get me through and, let me help me break this whole vicious circle of poverty and patriarchy and kind of help me achieve my dreams, it's education. So it's my answer is poverty and patriarchy.
So, like you said before, you left your job at Deloitte, and there was also a moment of your time where you had to live by yourself before you could study. And the society frowned upon this. And how did you overcome all these obstacles? What were your parents' reactions to it?
My parents have been very supportive. I wouldn't have been here had they not been supportive. So I mean, hats off to them for bringing me up in a conservative family and a patriarchal society the way they have brought me up. So it was a difficult decision. I will not say that leaving a well-paying job. Deloitte is a world brand. I mean, I'm sure many of you in your placements would want to get placed in Deloitte. So Deloitte is a huge firm. So it was definitely a difficult decision. But then I also knew that it is now or never. It's see, once you start achieving those, so we all have that societal checklist. No, at the age of this, we need to have a job. At the age of this, we need to get married. At the age of this, we need to have children. So once, like every time those check boxes, you start checking those check boxes one after the other, you tend to become a little complacent. And I knew that Deloitte is keeping me so happy that if I don't put in my papers now, probably I'll miss the bus because it was paying me well. I was enjoying my work. But then that childhood dream, as I kept saying, as I keep saying, it was my childhood dream. I didn't want to regret after 32 that I didn't even try for something that I had been dreaming of since the age of 5. So I did want to live with that feeling of regret. I was like, I can land a job any other time also. But after 32, I can't write this exam. So that was the main thing. So challenges were there. It was difficult. And worst thing was when I left my job and all of a sudden every month end when the salary stopped getting credited into the bank account. Oh God, that's a horrible feeling. That's a very horrible feeling. But then you'll have to overcome all of that because you have a goal in front of you and you are passionate about it. You are determined to achieve that. So you'll have to get rid of all of that negativity, all of those questions in your mind, all of that self-doubt, and go for it. You have to give it your all because what's worse than not having your salary credited at the end of your month, at the end of the month in the bank account? It's the feeling of regret that kash ki maine ye kiya hota when I had time. That kash ka feeling is very, very bad. And I didn't want to live the rest of my life thinking that I wish I had taken that step. So, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. And it's definitely worth it. After
Yeah.
like you crack UPSC, it's always worth it. So, ma'am, while writing the toughest exam in India, What were your strategies and thoughts during all your attempts of UPSC, like your first, second, and third?
Well, UPSC is tough, but I don't know if it is the toughest. Yes, it is one of the most competitive exams, but it is definitely crackable. So, on that note, strategies. See, I keep telling aspirants one thing: you don't need to do anything different for UPSC. So let me make you guys understand what I'm trying to say. We write the you need to be at least 21 years old to write this exam. So in India, given our education system, means you are a graduate, or so you have written your class 10 boards, you have written your class 12 boards, and you have also gone through your college examination, right? So you have written like three major examinations before you write UPSC. So, and at the age of 21, 22, when you are eligible to write the first attempt of UPSC, a part of your, like most of your personality is already developed. You have your studying style, you have your note making style, you have your answer writing style. You know what your capacity is in terms of the number of hours you can put in given your circumstances and your tenacity. So all that is set. For UPSC, you don't need to do anything different. All, like, say if my capacity is to study a maximum of 5 hours, okay, do you really think you can make if I can make myself study for 8 hours every day for a year continuously for UPSC if my capacity is 5? No, I can't. So there is nothing different you need to do. What you need to do is you need to do what you are good at consistently in a disciplined manner. That is more important. If you're good at studying for 5 hours a day, then you need to consistently put in those 5 hours every single day for like 1 year, 2 year, whatever. Occasionally, it might go to 6 or 7, but then you can't sustain it. So you need to consistently do what is sustainable for you. Similarly, answer writing is extremely important. You have written already three major examinations. You don't need to be taught how to write an answer. You need to practice it. And if you are like taking help from any coaching center, or if you're writing mock examinations, then you need to tweak a little here and there depending on the feedback you get. But you cannot change your style completely. This is one myth aspirants need to break, that you can completely change your style for UPSC. No, you can't. It's not sustainable. Because, your friends, the preparation, if you're lucky, you might get it in your first or second attempt. If you're not, you might have to like write 4 or 5 times. So one attempt means 1 year. So if you have to write study for like 2 or 3 years, then you have to look for sustainable options. One day you study for 9 hours and next day you don't study for even 2 hours. No, if you're good at studying for 4 hours a day, then make it 4 hours a day for like the entire year. So consistency and discipline are the two main things. And luckily, I am very good at being disciplined and consistent. So strategy is this only. Do what you're good at. You have to tweak a little, obviously, get help from people who have cracked the exam, or if you're looking for coaching, if you're getting help from a coaching center, then get those feedback. Try to improve yourself consistently, but then do what is required in a disciplined manner, and don't fall into the trap of, should I use a blue pen or a black pen, should I use a gel pen, or aspirants reach out to me asking me, ma'am, which pen did you use, which color. No, nothing matters. Nothing matters. I mean, do not let anyone tell you that this pen is important or that. Please, that is nonsense. I mean, I am strongly using the word nonsense. Just do what you're good at in a consistent manner. That's all.
Yes, ma'am. So, who all helped you along your journey and has been a constant support system, and how?
Parents, friends,
Other than
family.
parents, of course.
I mean, we all have a set of our inner circle people, right? So it's my inner circle that helped me, mainly my parents, my best friend Viji, and my husband. So it's that, yeah. How? I mean, come on, they were there. They had my back. They were like, we are there with you even if you don't make it to the IAS. And most importantly, I think I helped myself, because I kept on telling myself that I'm going to make it to the IAS no matter what. So yeah.
You also majored in economics, right? So, what made you transition from economics to become an IAS?
I that is one question that gets asked in any UPSC interview. If you're a doctor, you get asked why do you want to become a doctor, an IAS officer, though you're a doctor. If any of you go to the UPSC board, they're going to ask you, you're an engineer, why do you want to? I mean, IAS has been my dream, so it didn't matter whether I majored in economics or any other subject. I did an MBA also. After that, I worked in Deloitte also. But then IAS was my dream, and it didn't matter what I studied before that. So yeah.
Ma'am, what was your parents' reaction when they got to know that you've cleared first IPS and then IS, two being the highest administrative posts in India?
My parents' reaction started when I cleared it for the first time when I got into the IRS customs. I was all India rank 497. That was UPSC CSE 2013. So of course they were very happy. I mean, हिंदी में कहावत है ना, बाप दादा के जन्म में किसी को नहीं किसी ने नहीं सुना था कि what these services are. So of course they were very happy. IRS is what made me a civil servant in the first place. So we were all very happy. Then IPS happened, and then of course the IAS happened. And when I got into the IAS, I was actually training for being a cop in the National Police Academy in Hyderabad, and we were on a flight returning from our Kumbh Mela attachment when the news broke, and it was, of course, I mean, it's very difficult to describe that moment in words. It's for them, it was as if kyunki tapasya safal ho gayi hai, they have finally, because see, the thing is, the kind of discrimination that they had also faced because they couldn't give birth to a son. And finally, when their daughter makes it to one of the most prestigious services in the country, you can imagine, right, how that parent is going to feel. It's very difficult to describe in words. But yeah, for all of us as a family, it was as if finally, all the sacrifices that we had made over the past so many years and all the, as I said, tapasya that we had done, then that got fulfilled. So yeah, that was how I would describe it.
So, ma'am, thank you. What is the highlight of your profession as an IAS officer? What would you say?
Being able
What made it worth it?
Yeah, please.
What made all the studying worth it?
Being able to reach out to the last mile person. It's the Gandhiji's talisman, right? You know that your life has been worth it or your services have been worth it if you've been able to reach out to the last person in the queue. So being able to reach out to the last person in the queue, having the ability or the power to make some difference in that person's life is what makes it all worth it. So I'll give you some examples. We go on a lot of field inspections in our. I'm by the way, I'm posted as additional district magistrate, Zilla Parishad in Purba Medipur district. So Zilla Parishad takes up a lot of civil works like building of road, construction of roads and all that. So before making processing the payments, I do a lot of inspections to check the quality of the work. So whenever I go for these inspections, I make it a point that I interact with the villagers around. So so when you ask them these questions that ration theek se mil rahi, whether you're getting the ration properly or not, or whether all these kind of things. I mean, whether you're getting the government services properly or not. So I am in charge of the health of this district also. So I'm ADM Health. So I keep asking them, did you get the COVID vaccination? How many doses did you take? So my job takes me to these very far-flung areas for inspections, very far-flung. I mean, probably, we don't even, on a daily basis, you're not even aware that these places exist. So when you go to such far-flung areas, such interior areas, and there when when you see the smile on the people's faces and they say that they have received the government services, the services that are meant for them, the satisfaction that it gives, that makes this entire journey worth it. When someone reaches out to you for help, and when you are able to provide that help, which makes like a heaven and hell difference in that person's life. Like yesterday only at late in the night, I received a call from a hospital As I said, I'm in charge of the health setup in this district. I received a call late in the night from a hospital because there was some issue with the Swasthya Sati. Swasthya Sati is a government of West Bengal scheme related to health insurance. Swasthya Sati card, there was some issue with it, and because of that, they weren't able to operate on him, and it was like a life or death situation. So we immediately got into action, and within like half an hour, we got all the clearances done. And then I received a thank you message from the hospital. That makes it worth it. I don't know the person. The person will never know what happened in the background. But then that feeling, you sleep peacefully at night that, okay, your intervention was able to save someone's life. So these small incidents here and there. So in West Bengal, another example I'll give you. In West Bengal, I remember. I mean, in West Bengal, the subdivisional magistrate is the issuing authority, the caste certificate issuing authority. So in many states, it's the tehsildar, but in West Bengal, it is subdivisional magistrate. So I remember when I was SDM in Rampurhat, I one day one kid came to me who needed the caste certificate like that very night. He came to me at night and he wanted it that very night because next day he had to get counseling done in one of these big engineering colleges. And if he would not have been able to produce the caste certificate in his ranking or something, he probably wouldn't have gotten into that course. And but he was desperate, and it's a long process. In on an average, it takes at least 28 days to get this whole thing done. So like from start to end. But he was so desperate. I was able to finally maneuver everyone, mobilize everyone, and get it done in 2 to 3 hours. It was very late in the night, but we were able to deliver it to him before he went for the counseling session in that engineering college. So that gives you satisfaction. I mean, these things, this last mile delivery, it makes it all worth it.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, so have you like achieved all your goals, or like do you have any more plans for the future?
Oh, you should never stop dreaming. You should never do that. IAS was one dream, I have achieved it, but then you should never stop dreaming. This is one message to all you youngsters. सपने देखना कभी मत छोड़ना, please. You should always dream. One goal you achieve, you dream for the next, whatever it might be. So of course I have many goals. I want to do a PhD. I want to study in an Ivy League. I want to do a lot of things. So of course there are so many goals yet to be achieved. Never stop dreaming. Never stop setting goals for you, even if you have achieved your major ones. Choose another major goal.
True words. We should do that. We noticed that we can't find any of your social media accounts. You aren't on Instagram or Facebook. So why is this so? What are your views on social media?
It was a very conscious decision to not be on social media. I I don't know if it will be a little politically incorrect to say that, but then I just want to be a little. I it is a very tricky question. If I tell you what I really want to say, I don't know. I might be just bombed or
This
anything.
is an informal conversation. Don't be stressed out. You can say whatever you want.
No, so the thing is that okay, this is a theory of mine. So please do not bomb me for this. It is just a simple theory which I keep giving myself. I feel people are on social media either to show what they are doing to the world or to know about what others are doing. I call it envy and vanity. I am interested in neither. I am happy in my own world. And if I have to keep in touch with people, I'll pick up the phone call and I'll call that person up and ask him or her how you're doing, rather than make him or her a Facebook friend of mine or an Insta friend of mine. No offense to anyone. It is just like one thing I keep telling myself. So please, no offense to anyone. But it was a very conscious decision. I've been off social media, I think, since 2014.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, so this I have been hearing from a lot of people. So, according to popular belief, people say that civil servant means that we have to serve the political masters rather than the public. So, what are your thoughts on this?
I would correct that. We don't serve the political masters. We work with the politicians to serve the public. Let's get this one thing straight. We serve the public. We are public servants. Yes, in the process of doing that, we have to work with an entire spectrum of people, and politicians make a very important part of that spectrum. But we do not serve the political masters. We serve only the public. So let's get that one thing straight. Yeah.
So, ma'am, along your journey, have you faced any political pressures because of your poverty or your gender?
Yes, it's a part and parcel of the job. Uh, Gender roles are as much present here as they are in our daily lives. Things don't change a lot. But then the fact is that, like, say, I'll talk about myself. I'm an IAS officer. I consider myself an empowered woman. So, what I do is I don't let these things get to me. If at this stage and age in my life, if I still let these things get to me, then what have I achieved in life? Yeah, after studying so much and calling myself an educated person and calling myself a civil servant. So there are pressures of all sorts. But then I think that exists in every profession, and it's nothing particular to civil services. All the professions have their own share of pressures from different corners and different stereotypes. So we also had that. But having said that, you learn to deal with it.
Yes, ma'am.
So, ma'am, do you
Go ahead, Teresa.
so, ma'am, do you have any last words of wisdom for the IAS aspirants here? And not only for the IAS aspirants, for all those who have a dream.
As I said, if you have a dream, give it your everything. I mean, I remember when I was preparing for the UPSC examination, my father kept telling me the story, this Mahabharata story, which we all know, that when Arjun was asked what he's seeing, he just said that he's seeing the eye of the bird and not the bird, entire bird or the trees or everything. So you have to stay focused, you have to work hard, and you have to be consistent and disciplined. And I personally believe that if these few ingredients are there in you, nothing can stop you from achieving your dreams. And yes, stay away from negativity, stay away from self doubt. Don't let anyone tell you that you cannot achieve it. I had a lot of naysayers in my life who were like, nahi hoga tumse, you will not be able to do, and things like that. I was like, yeah, right. Right. So it's like you need to stay away from negativity. You need to consciously take that decision and ensure that that self-doubt, because the moment you let that self-doubt creep in, the moment you let people tell you you are not, you won't be able to do that, you kind of start losing it. Don't do that to yourself. You are unique, you are special, you can do anything you put your mind to. So don't let anyone tell you otherwise. So focused, disciplined, these are the basic things. And of course, stay away and love yourself, love your journey. The journey is as important as the destination. I have learned so much in my journey. I put in 5 years into this examination preparation from 2012 to 2016. I have learned 2011 to 2016. I have learned so much in my journey. So enjoy the journey. That's all.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, so in the comment box, Saurav Kumar Lal has asked if you personally feel any difference in the work environment in Deloitte and now as an IAS officer.
Oh, there's a heaven and hell difference. Corporate world is different in government services. It can be as simple as in Deloitte we used to address even the senior most partners by their first name. Here we have to ma'am and sir everyone. So I mean, it's simple. The differences start from here to it's very different. I mean, I hope, Saurabh, if you are an IAS aspirant, you first work in the corporate sector and then get into the civil services, you'll understand. Because it's a sea change. It's like from one part of the spectrum to the other part of the spectrum. Extreme change difference is there. very hierarchical. UPSC, like civil services, are very hierarchical, and pressures are different. In a corporate sector, corporate sector, where you have different sorts of pressures. Here, you have different sort of pressures. In corporate world, you don't have to deal with, say, politicians or media on a daily basis if your work profile is not of that sort. Here, media and like one hand media, one hand politicians, like on a daily basis, you have to deal with them, depending on your role. So, too many differences are there.
Okay, so there's one more question in the chat box. I think it's from an aspirant. He's asking to discuss about the test series and the answer writing, and also the final exam environment, how you dealt with the stress and pressure. Was there any special
Could you
tricks
please
or
could you please repeat?
Yeah, so it's from Riddle. It's in the chat.
Okay.
Please discuss test series and answer writing, and also final exam environment. So do you have any tips or tricks for
Wait.
dealing with these exams?
There is some problem. I'm unable to hear you. Is it about, if I get you correctly, he's asking about the final exam environment and
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
okay.
Yes,
So, discuss, of course, answer writing. I'll start with answer writing. Answer writing is a very important part of your UPSC preparation. My sincere advice to all aspirants is that you should definitely make it a point to practice answer writing. It's these small tricks, like you should give examples to corroborate your theory part, or you should write like in the short paragraphs rather than writing a long monologue. These small tweaks support your answer with a diagram, any like wherever possible. So these small things will become a part of your answer writing only with practice. So answer writing practice is definitely very important. Number one. Number two, test series. So test series, yes, the best way to make to have this regular answer writing practice is to join some test series. So there are too many in the market. I don't want to name any and sound like a promoter of any. So just Google, see, ask around which test series are good right now. Because I have written this exam 6 years back last, so it's very difficult for me to right now tell which test series are good or not. But test series are important. The more you practice, the better you get. And finally, final exam. Final exam, yaar. I mean, come on. When I went to write this exam, I was like, this is do or die for me. I always felt as if my heart is going to come out. So, yes, final exam environment depends on how you feel inside. It's not about the outside world as much. It is about what you feel inside. If you are like calm and cool and composed, then you'll see the environment around you that way. And if you are overwhelmed by the fact that you're writing the UPSC exam, ye nahi hua to kya hoga, so many things are thoughts are there on your mind, then you see the world around you that way. So final exam environment is totally dependent on how you're feeling within you when you're going to write this exam. So tricks and all, just stay calm. Just stay calm. So what I used to do is I have a very bad habit of like as a student when I used to write exams right from my childhood to get very nervous if people around me are continuously discussing those last minute there are groups there are people who like hall mein jane se pehle they are like they read, they discuss, they I get very nervous around these people. So my strategy was that I will not interact or talk to anyone both before and after the exam, because after the exam also there are a set of people who will be like, what is the answer of this, what is the answer of that, oh I wrote this, I wrote that. And then if you feel that you have not written the answer which everyone else is saying, you get so tense. I mean, I used to get tense. So what my strategy was, एकदम horse की तरह, just go straight, go sit on your seat, write the exam, get out, don't talk to anyone. So, and I didn't even check those answer keys also, because I used to get very nervous. And I've seen in my in my experience that answer keys differ a lot from what the actual UPSC answer key is. I mean, in my own experience, I remember it was the 2014 prelims which got me IPS. My marks differed by 32. from the like most relevant answer key and the UPSC answer key. Do you realize 32 marks? What difference it makes? So by the most relevant answer key in the market, I was not making the cutoff. But finally, I did, and I got All India rank 141 also because the UPSC answer key got me those 32 marks. So there's no point in in my personal opinion, there's no point. So, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, so we all know that Lavasna is considered like the heaven of all IAS aspirants. So, do you recall any memories or moments from your Lavasna days that is very close to your heart?
Oh, there are many, many, many. I mean, Labasna actually. So what happened was, I during my graduation and my post graduation days, I didn't live my college life. I mean, you in college, you have this thing, no, ki you finally arrived after school and you want to take part in so many extracurricular activities. You are like a wild horse, want to do so many things. I only studied, and I wasted my college life. So Labasna was like getting back to college for me. I was like, I don't have to study anymore for any examination except those internal exams which we have. And so I lived my college life in Labasna, practically participating in anything and everything I could lay my hands on, in the sense that going out of my comfort zone. I always enjoyed dancing, but I am a very bad dancer. But Labasna, I went and did it and got laughed at, but doesn't matter. We were all like enjoying ourselves. So it's like that. So that first dance I did on the stage in our cultural event in Labasna, that was a very nice moment for me, very happy moment for me. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Then I am the training topper in my batch. So when I got those gold medals, that moment was a very like memorable moment for me. So Labasna journey has been filled with so many events, so many memories, that it's very difficult to say which ones stand out. I remember, so Labasna, in our foundation course we have essay writing competitions, like the entire batch. So we were a batch of 378 during our foundation course. So the entire batch participated, and I won a gold in that from the Indian Army. So that was a very memorable moment for me. And again, as I said, taking part in extracurriculars, I was a very active social service society member. So every day after classes, I used to go and teach the kids of the daily wages of Labasna. So those 1.5, 2 hours which I used to spend on a daily basis with the kids, that that has stayed with me even now. And the best part is, when some of them still call you back or send you messages. It's been 3.5 years since I've left Labasna. It fills you with joy. So seeing some of them growing up through the photos they send, it really fills you with a lot of joy. So yes, Labasna journey has been full of a lot of memories, very very precious memories.
Yes, ma'am, I'm sure. Ma'am, so there is one more question in the chat box. So Mridul has asked about the CSAT part of the paper and how to handle it.
So if I'm not wrong, CSAT is right now qualifying in nature. I mean, it's still one of those. You just have to get, I think, 66 or 67 marks in CSAT to qualify. So mainly it's mathematics and English. That's how it used to be. As I said, I've written it 6 years back, but as I remember it, it is mainly mathematics, logical reasoning, and English. So you have to just aim at that 67, 70 marks. Now, if you're good at English, try and get it from the English portion. If you're good at logical reasoning and quant, get it from that. But I don't know of late what is the standard, but it was manageable back then at my time. So you just need to ensure you don't need to like write the entire paper. As I said, since it is just qualifying in nature, just make sure that you answer as when the net you should be getting 70 marks. So उसके लिए you have to see how the paper, if English portions for that particular year is manageable, try and get as much from there. You don't have a sectional cutoff anyway. So you have to work a little, but then a little bit of tweaking here and there. If the passages are very long in English, don't waste your time trying to read all those passages because the ROI is not much. So you might as well shift to the quant portion and try to get, because in quant it is easier to understand whether you are right or wrong rather than in English, wherein you tend to get a little more confused because two similar options will be there and you will be like which one to pick. But in quant or in logical reasoning, it is easier to get the accuracy will be relatively higher. So try and get that from there. It depends on what is the portion because every year UPSC has this very nice and uncanny habit of throwing surprises. So it will be, it will throw a googly at you. So you'll also have to learn how to deal with it. So go through the paper once, like when you get the paper in your hand, go through it once and see which looks a little more manageable and try and spend more time dealing with that portion because again understand you don't need to get a 148 or a 150 out of 200 in that. You just need to get a 70, like 67, on the safe side 70. So manage your time and manage what you attempt accordingly.
Okay, so an audience member, he wants to speak up and ask you a question. So Saurav, you could unmute and
Good evening, ma'am. I'm Saurav from a first year engineering student from VIT only. Like I asked a question between difference between Deloitte and being an IAS. So I want to ask. I also want to be an IAS officer. It's my parents' dream and now my dream too. So I want to be an IAS officer, but also want to enjoy a big city of Western culture. You know, European life, like an engineer, go to foreign and enjoy that thing. And whereas IS is one of, not one of the IS is most respectable job in our country and in foreign too. So can you help me finding a way between these two way road, like to enjoy a Western culture or big city life or being a one of the most respectable job? Uh,
See, besides IAS, UPSC offers you a lot of other services which are equally respectable. So if you want a big city life and a foreign culture, then I think Indian Foreign Service is the best option for you rather than going for Indian Administrative Service because you have to understand in the initial years of Indian Administrative Service, you will be spending most of your time in the rural areas.
yes, ma'am. That's what
So,
my
yeah,
question was.
yeah. So there is no balance. It's rural. So I mean, if you want a big city life or if you want a foreign culture ka experience, then in IAS in initial years you will not get that here. So there is no way about around it. So then you'll have to choose your service accordingly. Then I think Indian Foreign Service would be the best bet for you, and it is equally respectable. Like let's get one thing straight. There's many services which UPSC CSC examination offers to you. All of them have a role to play in their respective spheres, and thinking that IAS is more respectable or having done three services, I can tell you we all like all services have a role to play. You should understand, you should pick what you want to based on based on what you want. So if you are sure that you want a foreign culture experience and things like that, then definitely Indian Foreign Service would be a better fit for you rather than Indian Administrative Service.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot, ma'am.
Yeah, take care.
thank you so much, ma'am. So because of the time, we'll have to end here. This was indeed a very informative session. All of us deeply inspired by your words today. On behalf of everyone, I want to thank Mrs. Sweta Agarwal for taking time out of her busy schedule to motivate us to strive hard to reach our goals. Your words and experience have encouraged us that dreams eventually do come true. We appreciate you for today's great session. Thank you all for being a wonderful and attentive audience. Thank you again so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. Take care, guys. All the best. Bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.